Hello, I'm Jake Papager, and I'm here to present Appster. Now, what is Appster? Appster is essentially a place for other apps to come together who are struggling to succeed. It's a place for apps to work on something that we call cross advertising and cross marketing. And essentially, where this is where apps that are collaborating with Appster, they all work together and they advertise for each other, such that their fan bases, their user bases, the people who love these apps and come to these apps can see the other apps such that they can grow. Now, when we're looking at the developing how cross advertising is going to work and how Appsters work, we have to look at the development of how mobile apps work. Now, the truth is that there's three parts to it. First, you need to have the incentives. Someone has to actually produce the app. And that's something that Appster is really good at, is increasing people to produce more apps. The second thing is that there has to be users. And by using cross advertising, we can build more user bases across all of the apps that we're collaborating with. And thirdly is with monetization plans. A really good app isn't worth much to the creator if they're not making money off it. And so by creating personalized monetization plans, Appster allows the developer to monetize and profit off of the app that they're producing. Now, when we're looking at incentives, the place that we're really going to be looking at people is teenagers. Now, when we're looking at the skills that teenagers have, they're overwhelming. Just from Computer Science A, the AP course, in 2018, there were 65,000 people. 2019, 69,000 people who took it. These are teenagers who have the skills to create apps, who've learned, and yet they don't. So the question is, why don't they create apps? And the truth is, it comes down to incentives. They aren't incentivized enough. There's no incentivization for them to produce it because they're going to put in hours and hours of work into it and then likely get nothing off it because no one is going to use their app. There's no good way out there for them to have created an app and then to market it. They can get it on the App Store, they can try to buy advertisements, but without other funds, without connections, without all of the things that Appster provides them, there's nowhere for them to go and nowhere for them to grow their app. So the question it goes to is step one, is developing users. Now comparing with Appster versus without Appster. With Appster, we group everyone together. Everyone cross-advertises. One successful app which develops users under Appster, all of the other advertisements, all of the other apps advertise for every other app, such that the users can grow exponentially, such that one good app can actually get the credit that it deserves because it has advertisements. And so by collectivizing, by working together, by cross-advertising, every single app gets the credit that it deserves. Now, when we're looking without Appster, some apps might be successful and grow up a large user base. Some apps will be moderately successful and others won't do very well. And that's just the truth. And the thing is that most won't do very well. But if all of these apps work together under Appster, if they all collaborate with Appster and cross-advertise with each other, they can actually develop a user base and it can actually be useful to the creator. Now, the second step is to figuring out how to profit. Now, without Appster, first of all, they probably won't have many users, and so there's no one to profit off of if there are no users. They say that if a tree falls in the woods and there's no one around to hear it, does it still make a sound? Well, the truth is for Appster is that no matter how good an app is, if there's no users on it, there's no purpose to the app. There's no benefit of the app to any potential users because there are none, or to the creator because they can't profit off it. And secondly, frequently when they're trying to come up with a monetization profit for it, it won't be adjusted well to the app. The users will either feel taken advantage of or ripped off, or frequently of an easy way that seems simple to make money off the app is just to charge $1 for the app. But the truth is that then way fewer people use the app. And that brings us back to step one, where you're losing users because of your failed monetization plans. The plans don't fit the amount of money and the plan don't work for the app. Sometimes it'll be other non-invasive ads that they make revenue off of. Other times it'll be through various in-app purchases, whether it be VIPs or premium sets or buying various things. And there's a lot of nuance to creating apps. And frequently the people who have the ability to create apps are not the same people who have the ability to monetize their apps. And so Appster provides them with that. First, they provide them with the users by cross-advertising across all of our successful apps. Secondly, we come up with plans such that they can actually profit. We come up, some apps are going to be smaller and are going to have small monetization. Other apps will be much larger. We come up with a system that fits rather than a one size fits all that they may see at other marketing agencies or whatever. With Appster, we really organize ourselves around the app to be as beneficial as we possibly can be. So the third step is to go back to the incentives. The truth is that the user base, the profit, and the incentives are all deeply, deeply intertwined, because the incentive is the user base and the profit. And the profit and the user base interact together. As they get more and more profitable, we'll be able to gain more and more notoriety, more and more justified our platform. And the truth is, as we gain more and more users, we can put more and more money into it. We can get more, and the biggest thing is that we can get more and more money out of it. And so those are the incentives to create more apps. As we talked about the 65 to 69 ever-growing number of people taking AP Computer Science A, teenagers taking AP Computer Science A, and then not using those skills until years down the line when they go off to industry, or maybe never using them at all. They learn these skills and they have no place to take advantage of them. Because if they use their skills to create apps, there's no incentives. Now, with Appster, they can go, they can develop, and then they can talk to Appster. Now, Appster, we take just 20% of the net revenue that they make, and we leave them with 80%. So not only does Appster lead to more apps being developed, but it makes it such that every single app on Appster can grow their user base and grow their monetization. And since new apps, new developers will now have the resources, they don't need to do the marketing on their own. They don't need to do the monetization on their own. They can turn to Appster and they can work with other apps to collaborate, to cross-market, to cross-advertise, such that then the incentives will be there and more apps will be produced. And when we're looking at Appster, when we're looking at the feasibility of Appster, the truth is that Appster is not a new thing, but it is very unique. Developing apps, marketing apps, building users, developing profit, and incentivizing the production of new apps has been a long cycle of repeating and growing and developing that many very large companies use. And they hire employees, and these teenagers, they go to college, they come out of college, and they work for these companies, developing, but they don't get the spoils from their own. With this, and the truth is that they can't just leave and develop their own apps because they don't have the resources to do so. Appster allows for adults or teenagers to develop their own apps and to profit off their own apps. We are very, very unique because we collectivize. We build it's a company for and by the creators. Appster builds an empire of apps without having to produce any apps themselves, because the apps come to us and because we incentivize the creation of new apps. Finally, to conclude, these are my contacts. You can contact me at jacobhuffaker@appster.com, or you can text or call me directly. I think that Appster is a fantastic idea moving forward. I think it provides more freedom for people to produce apps and for have the resources to actually profit off their apps. We build a user base, a strong user base, and then we provide the monetization for people, incentivizing the production of new apps and then allowing people to profit off their apps. That's our market strategy, and I think it's fit to be successful. Thank you.